All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're breaking down a classic tale of a clever con artist completely outsmarting a terrifying predator. On the surface, it just looks like a simple fable about a tiger and a small rabbit. But if we actually peel back the layers, it's literally a masterclass in psychology, high-stakes negotiation, and using your opponent's massive strength right against them.
So what happens when unstoppable brute strength meets quick-thinking wit? In the wild, brute strength usually wins, right? Like, without a second thought. But under the right conditions, a sharp mind can completely dismantle physical dominance. Let's look at exactly how that plays out.
Part 1. The Forest of Fear.
We need to set the scene here, and frankly, it's pretty grim for these animals. We're talking about a true reign of terror. This huge tiger lives deep in the forest, and he's not just, a casual threat. He's actively hunting the other animals and birds every single day. The baseline emotion for literally every creature in this ecosystem is just constant, unyielding fear. It's so bad that none of the animals can even sleep peacefully. They're perpetually on edge, just waiting for that inevitable strike.
You've got this massive power imbalance right out of the gate. On one side, there's this apex predator, right? A huge, hungry tiger. And on the other side, small, weak forest animals who are completely outmatched physically. It is a zero-sum game, and the animals are always losing. Well, until one specific rabbit decides to change the rules of engagement.
Which brings us to Section 2, the clever rabbit's bluff. The inevitable finally happens, and the tiger catches a small rabbit.
Just as the tiger is about to eat him, the rabbit shouts, "Wait, Uncle Tiger!" This is such a pivotal moment. The tiny rabbit is taking psychological control here. He doesn't scream in terror, he doesn't try to physically fight back, because obviously that would be totally useless. Instead, he issues a command to wait, and he calls the predator Uncle Tiger. It's a term of familiar respect that acts as this brilliant pattern interrupt. It forces the tiger to pause just long enough for the rabbit to make his pitch.
So, instead of panicking, the rabbit immediately goes to work exploiting the tiger's greed. First, he points out a very real problem for a giant predator. He says, "Eating me won't fill your belly." He literally diminishes his own value. Then, he offers a clear exchange. "If you let me go." And finally, he dangles the ultimate bait. "I will lead you to a deer that is much bigger and tastier than I am." Boom. The rabbit just shifted the tiger's focus completely away from the tiny meal in his paws to this massive hypothetical feast.
Tempted by the prospect, the tiger agreed. The tiger's massive appetite completely blinds him here. He turns into the absolute perfect mark for this elaborate con. The tiger has essentially dropped his physical advantage because his mind has been hijacked by greed. The rabbit is now totally in the driver's seat.
Moving on to Section 3, the deep pool illusion. It's time to execute the trap. The rabbit bought himself some time, but now he actually has to deliver. Or, make the tiger believe he's delivering. Here's the real-time strategy. He leads the tiger to this deep, moonlit pool in the forest. It's night, so the surface of the still water is acting like a perfect natural mirror. He points at the water surface, claims there's another tiger sitting down there with a huge deer, and then suggests roaring and snatching the deer away.
He tells him, "Look there, another tiger is sitting in the water with a huge deer. You should roar at him and snatch the deer away." The rabbit is completely selling the illusion here. He taps right into the tiger's territorial aggression. He's not just showing the tiger a reflection, he's spinning this whole narrative about a rival stealing a prize. He actually gets the tiger to view his own reflection as a legitimate, taunting threat holding the exact meal he was promised.
This perfectly illustrates the concept of the foolish tiger. It's a state of being so incredibly driven by the desire to get that deer that you completely lack the self-awareness to recognize your own reflection. The logic completely evaporates. The tiger genuinely thought there was another tiger down there. He didn't question why a tiger would be living underwater. He didn't think about the physics of it. Pure, unadulterated desire just overrode his basic common sense.
So driven entirely by that desire, the tiger takes a mighty leap from the bank and splash! He lands in the water, soaking wet. That terrifying apex predator is instantly reduced to a giant, confused, wet cat floundering in a deep pool. The sheer absurdity of unleashing all that brute strength on a literal puddle of water is just incredible. And that leads us to our final part, brains over brute strength. Let's look at the aftermath.
0. That is exactly how many deer the tiger found in the water. No massive feast, no tasty meal to fill his belly. He was left with absolutely nothing but a severely bruised ego and a really cold bath. The illusion completely shattered the second he made contact with reality.
This really sums up the whole situation. On one side, the tiger, who fled in fear and embarrassment. The tyrant of the forest ran away. And on the other side, the little rabbit, who saved its own life through sheer wit. The rabbit didn't just escape. He completely neutralized a massive threat without ever throwing a single punch.
It's such a brilliant reminder that power isn't always about sharp claws or a loud roar. Sometimes, true power is just keeping a cool head when the pressure is on. So, I want to leave you with this. When was the last time you used your wit to overcome an impossible obstacle? Because, as our clever little rabbit proves, if you can control the narrative, you can conquer pretty much any giant. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.